Hi, this is Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz of Israel 365 News, coming at you live from the Golan. We have as our guest today Rabbi Ari Abramowitz. And I have to tell you, he put out a video. There's so few rabbis who can help guide us through, or even spiritual leaders who can help guide us through these very difficult times. I heard a video that he did, and my gosh, it helped me so much. So I'm blessed to have him here. He's not feeling well, so we have to keep this short. I apologize. We have to limit the words of wisdom. So Rav Ari, it's great to see you. Thank you so much. And Rav Ari is
Thank
coming at
you.
us from the Arugot farm in the hills of Judah, overlooking the Dead Sea. And through the wonders of modern technology, we're able to bring these words of Torah to me and to, thank God, the rest of the world. So, Rav Ari, the most important question: you compared the current political crisis to the situation with Pharaoh in Egypt. And I found that analogy, that comparison, and that connection to be hugely helpful. Could you please explain to us how what we're going through is like the Exodus from Egypt?
Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz, good to see you. Joshua Wander, another great hero of Israel. So there's a lot of comparisons. There's an idea of Maaseh Avot Siman Labanim, that the actions of the fathers are a sign for the children. And there are many parallels between, on a macro level, between the Exodus from Egypt and what I see happening right now in America. Because in my eyes, what I see happening in America, and I don't think it's an alarmism or a conspiracy theory to see what's happening in America as the unraveling or the undoing of one of the greatest empires in world history. And we're seeing it happen before our eyes, and they're turning on each other. And one of the things that concerns me very much, and I know I'm not alone here in present company, is the way I see it playing out for American Jewry. You know, Americans, they say that the Jews in Egypt were so entrenched in the role of being Egyptian and so connected with, they were on like the 49th level of impurity. They would have just disappeared into Egyptian fabric. And when I see what's happening in America today, there's some Jews that are conservative and some Jews that are leftist and liberal, and they hate it, and they're missing the point that they're going to be caught in the middle of all of this. And when I say all of this, I'm talking about on a micro level. What's happening right now is the shocking, overwhelming blitzkrieg of censorship that is happening on behalf of these five massive technological titans, where they have colluded together and cooperated together to absolutely silence an entire half of the country, to ensure that, and they're so marginalizing this group of Americans that they're, in my mind, forcing a civil war to unfold in America. The amount of visceral animosity and hatred that I see is unlike anything I've ever seen in my entire life. And so, what have they done?
If I may, one of the things we learned from Pesach is that the power of freedom comes from freedom of speech. It comes from the mouth, from speech. And censorship does more than just, oh, now I can't say my piece. It takes away my ability to be a free thinking and free acting individual.
Rabbi
That's
Pinchas
right.
Winston. Rabbi Pinchas Winston.
Go ahead,
do you know him? He said this past week that there are the comparison that there are 50 levels of tum'ah, of impurity in Egypt that the Jews were entrenched in, and there are also 50 states of the United States with the Jews are entrenched in. I knew you would like that one.
That's interesting. That's good. I mean, what you said, Adam Eliyahu, is really beautiful, because it says that the Torah was written cherut, it was engraved. But if you take those words cherut, it's really liberty. And the fear, I don't know that I would say that these media giants are evil. I don't know that they're evil, but I do think they're overwhelmingly arrogant and on a power trip, that they're so intoxicated and drunk with their ability to control that they really think that these people watching Fox News or Newsmax or Parler or whatever are such a threat that they don't understand that stripping Americans of their liberty, which, as we said, cherut, is such a tikaba shofar gadol cherutenu. It is part of the human condition to seek liberty. The soul needs liberty, and to strip them of their liberty, they're going to force a far worse result than if they just let them speak and express themselves in the free marketplace of ideas. And the analogy that I made was between about the magicians, Pharaoh and his magicians that saw themselves as gods. And they were actually able to replicate and copy the first two of the plagues, because they saw at the beginning that Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses and Aaron, were just magicians like they were. And what do magicians do? They're able to manipulate the elements to achieve their end. They're able to control, and keep in mind, they prayed to the elements. They prayed to the sun and the moon and the Nile, so they were able to manipulate their own gods. And so in their mind, they themselves are gods. So the point that Rabbi Jonathan Sachs made that really helped connect me to what's happening in the world today was the connection between magicians in the times of mythic and magical Egypt to technology in the age of science. These people, these tech giants, look what they've done. How could they not be intoxicated? If you don't know and believe that there's a creator of the world that is much greater than you, and you're able to say, you know what, this new up-and-coming parlor where these people are able to discuss whatever they want to, even though we know between the three of us that the entire rally was, the riots in Washington were planned on Twitter and on Facebook anyways. Absolutely. That's not even the point. That's not even the point. The point is that they came together and said, don't let him in the Google store, don't let him in the Apple store, and hey, Bezos, don't let him on the internet. Take them off the internet. I mean, any person that believes in liberty and freedom, that's why I'm shocked not only that I'm not hearing more Republicans or conservatives or libertarians shouting from the rooftops, but also traditional liberals. Liberals should fight to the death for everybody's right to be able to speak their mind. That's a liberal value. And we see it being stripped away. Now take what's happening. Take the division that you see, the polarization that you see happening in America, and now add a sharp economic downturn to that. The chaos in the streets, right? I'm not saying that, listen, America is a different country than anywhere we've been in the past as Jews. And that's why I think we love America. I love America. I'm grateful to America for the tremendous freedoms and liberty that it's given not only to its citizens, but to the Jewish people. Jews have thrived there. But Jews are going to be stuck in the middle of this thing. And the whole country is going to be suffering, and Jews are going to be suffering even more. And this is what I see happening here, is it's not even like about religions. This is an issue of liberty, of freedom, of belief in God, versus the antithesis of all of those values. And those are the two camps that I see lining up right now, not only in America, but in the entire world. And so that's, Jeremy and I were doing this. It's called the Land of Israel Fellowship. I cannot believe what has been happening. Over 500 families from around the world have been joining us and that's part of what I see you doing here. It was Israel 365. People are wanting to connect with each other, people that have the same values, and strengthen each other's faith. Because in the days to come, we're going to need to remain strong. There's going to be a tremendous impulse for compliance, for saying the lines and saying the words that you need to say in order for people to say, okay, you're fine. You're not a conspiracy theorist. You're not a right-wing extremist, a white supremacist. Insanity.
Did you read the piece of Dennis Prager? Dennis Prager.
I did read, yes.
And he said very clearly, he said he's been wondering his whole life how it was possible to have what was referred to as the quiet German. These Germans that didn't necessarily participate in the Nazi atrocities, but they stood back and didn't lift a finger to stop them. And he says he could not understand it until just recently, when he sees how quickly a whole population can be influenced by the mass media, just by in a switch, in one little switch. All of a sudden, somebody can go to be the president, the respected, one of the most popular presidents in U.S. history, to be demonized, and everything that he has touched to be tainted. And it's unbelievable that in 1 second, in a few days, The whole thing has been turned on its head, and now everybody that is supported Trump, anybody who has voted for Trump, anybody who's done anything that remotely connected to Trump now has been equated to the Nazis, which is unbelievable. And it's unbelievable that we're seeing this in our generation.
It's unbelievable. And go ahead, Adam. Yeah.
No, actually, I just wanted to ask you one last question. First of all, I really can't express how much I appreciate you overcoming your illness to be able to speak with us, because people really need to be hearing these things. It's all being suppressed. So if I can, one final question. I, as a Jew in Israel, I feel actually very safe and very, very protected. And all I have to do is call up my dear friend, Rabbi Abramowitz, and he'll pick me up and make me feel better. Or my friend Josh Wander, he's good at that too. But people living in America right now, good people. We look back on the story of Egypt, and it's all so clear. Oh, if I was back then, I would have done this, this, and this, and I would have been saved. And I think you're absolutely correct that we're going through the same thing right now. What advice would you give to people who are in America now, who want to come out of Egypt, who want to go through the redemption that is obviously imminent? What advice would you give to them? How should they act?
So, number one, I think you need to have at the very least a contingency plan. At the very least, you need to have your eyes open. You need to really see the writing on the wall. A lot of people are like, no, it couldn't happen here. It couldn't happen here. But when you see you need to see the writing on the wall. You need to see the signs when there's a new Pharaoh that is arising, right? And he looks at the nation of Israel. He doesn't remember the old Joseph. He doesn't remember all of the prosperity that the Jews have brought to America, and all of the success and all of the blessing that Jews have brought to America. Now, the people on the right see George Soros. The people on the left see Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager. They'll see who they want to see as the source of the problems of America. And so it's important to see the more rising Jew hatred, Israel hatred, and anti-Semitism that is arising. And I think it's also worth planning for Aliyah. I know it sounds weird. Don't even say, forget. Don't plan for Aliyah. Don't do it. Why don't you just do 1 year? Say you're going to take a 1-year pilot trip starting now, okay? Right now, you're going to do a pilot trip, and if you don't go to Israel and not only feel safer, not only feel like you're in a refuge of sanity amongst your brethren, and but you also feel the vibrance and vitality and joy and meaning and purpose of living in the land of Israel, which you couldn't even imagine until you're actually here, not visiting, but living here. Then after this year, you could go back and you gave it a shot. But this is the time to really open your eyes, see what's playing out, and not say, if I was in X, Y, or Z throughout Jewish history, I would have been on the side of this. This is that time. And it's difficult to imagine, but we're seeing enough things now before our eyes that are difficult to imagine, like the president of the United States Twitter account being blocked, rioters overtaking the White House. Okay, there's just so many insane things happening before our eyes. It's not difficult to imagine there will be more crazy things playing out before our eyes, and we want to be on the right side of history when that happens. So that's what I think. It doesn't matter, again, if you're a Reformed Jew, conservative, Orthodox, this is your home. There's not enough Reformed synagogues in Israel. Come and build them. More Reformed synagogues, the better. Just bring the Jewish people home. This is the time, really, I mean that from my heart.
Soon you will be able to take a sabbatical in the sabbatical year. It's coming up soon, and this is the time to take your sabbatical.
Amen.
I feel like there's a flyer coming there, Josh Wander. Make that happen.
So I didn't want to keep you too long because I know you're not feeling well. And
thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
I really can't thank you enough. And for our viewers, if you need a vaccine, if you need a shot to get you through the day of Torah, out of Zion comes Torah. I highly recommend joining the fellowship, connecting any way you can to Israel. Because there's going to be any redemption, it's going to come out from Zion. It's going to come out from the hills of Judah. It's going to come out from Jerusalem. And I can't recommend it enough. It helped me get through the day. So,
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Ari,
Rabbi.
you like my new gold yarmulke?
Very nice. That's good. I like that. Okay. Shalom, my friend. If anyone wants to reach out to me, my email is Ari, that's ARI, at thelandofisrael.com. And my camera's shaking because my cute little daughter Dvash is shaking it. And we've been alone together for a long time. And that's another blessing. You know, families coming together, locked in the house together. There's a blessing there. It's been a blessing to see you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Shalom,
much, Rabbi.
shalom. Bye-bye.
Okay,
So Josh,
yes.
are we going to discuss this, or are we going to go feed our kids?
Your call.
I would not mind discussing this. He's really tomorrow I'm going to post this. I highly recommend subscribing to the Israel 365 newsletter. Yeah, John, you're absolutely right.
Not only in Norway, but what's amazing to me is that the United States always was the poster child of freedom of speech, First Amendment rights, and now Europe is telling America you've gone too far.
Mexico,
Germany telling the United States you can't ban people from freedom of speech like this.
Mexico was calling America a banana republic. It's embarrassing. I have to tell you, I'm going to post this tomorrow on Israel 365 news site as a video, as a news article. It'll be put out in the newsletter, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to put the link to Rabbi Ari's video, which I really was so deeply inspired by it, because you have to look at what's happening as what was going on in Egypt. You know, if you were in Egypt, what would the headlines have read like? You know, that's what we're going through. And if you ask yourself,
people that do not want who want to get the uncensored news, the only way to do that now is to sign up to our newsletter at Israel365news.com, because unfortunately we are being censored right now as we speak by the big tech, and we need to get as many people on board to listen and hear the truth. I was just having on my podcast today, I was interviewing a young lady by the name of Ilyana Rudy, and she was telling her story, and I was telling her how that in the past, I was always used to say that we need to get more Olim Chadashim, more new immigrants into Israel from the United States, because we have so much to offer as Anglos, as Americans coming to Israel and teaching the Israelis about democracy and the system of government and tolerance. And then I thought to myself, as I said this to her, and I said, you know what, maybe perhaps for the first time in years, first time ever, I think, that I would be able to say that actually Israel has what to teach the United States now about tolerance instead of the other way around, because it seems that the United States has become one of the more intolerant places to be right now.
Yeah, so we are being censored. We've been censored for a while, strangely enough. I think maybe the other side, the dark side, they don't want to hear what I write about, which is really that redemption is happening. We're in the final days. And the big question is, where do you stand? You know, who are you with? What side are you on? And they don't want to hear that. They want to think, you know, we won, game over, go home, shut up. That's what they want to say.
They're in for a big surprise.
They're in for a big surprise. The mouths are still free, and we will still be talking. So I'm going to, like I said, if you come to Israel 365 News tomorrow, I'm going to subscribe, and I'll send you out the link to what Rav Ari said. Perry the Sheepy Garza said that they didn't get they didn't hear what Rav Ari said because of the censorship. So I'm going to put it up tomorrow through the newsletter. I highly recommend joining the newsletter, subscribing. And yeah, we are living through, and that's why I think you shouldn't get angry. You shouldn't get militant. You shouldn't feel frustrated, because the nice thing about taking a biblical perspective on things is we know how it's going to end up. I mean, we really do know how it's going to end up. The question is, there are two questions. What are the steps in between going to look like? And where were you during those steps? If you are, which power were you giving your force to? Were you helping censorship? Were you helping to enslave the tongue, enslave language as Pharaoh did, or were you allowing people to be free? Were you hoping for freedom? Were you working towards freedom? And those are really the times we're in right now. So.
And that is what it says in the book of Micah. It says, the Torah will go forth from Zion. It's interesting that we're living in a day and age where we here are free to speak and to tell the truth to the world. And the people in the United States are being censored right now. So they really need to make sure that you tune in and you connect and channel yourself through Zion, because this is where the truth will come from.
Channeling through Zion. You can just imagine these internet waves flowing through Josh, going up to that holy mountain. And then
I was thinking about a reggae song, but okay, either way.
Okay. And when you put it in that perspective, when you read the prophets and you see where it's going, when you read Egypt and the Exodus from Egypt, you're reading the template for what's happening to us right now. You're reading the template. And all along, it looked like Pharaoh was winning up until the end. We had as a wonderful guest, who was the broadcaster, the Christian broadcaster? And he, now I'm, okay. And he said, read the book of Esther. Read the book of Esther. The next time we're going to be dancing is Purim, after Tu B'Shvat. And the book of Esther, Haman was sitting there the whole time, tweaking his mustache. Ha 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 ha. I'm going to win. But it was precisely the methods, the methods that he used, yes, to bring down the powers. Those were precisely the methods. Yeah, those were precisely the methods that were used to bring out the victory of right, the victory of life, the victory of Torah, teaching. Those were the points that were used against him. And that's what we're going to be seeing now. Right now they're censorship. Well, guess what's going to happen in the end? In the end, they're not going to be able to speak.
Elio,
I don't know how it's going to happen.
A lot of people, when they hear Israel 365 news, they think that we're just another news source. And people, I think, especially in recent years, have become very jaded about the idea of news, because when they hear news, they don't think news is not news anymore. News is opinion. You turn on CNN, you turn on Fox, you turn on any of the networks, and you're going to get opinion. Even in the headlines, you're getting opinion. And to turn on a news source that will give you actually a biblical, prophetic perspective on what is going on, I think is unprecedented and something that you only will find here. And that's why we so appreciate the people that are coming in and listening to us, because we are here for you and you are here for us, and we're in this together. And like I said, it's through Zion that the truth will spread forth. The Torah will come out from Zion, and regardless of how much they try to censor us, we will just be strengthened by that, and we will be able to get our message more by subscribing to our newsletter, by forwarding this to your friends and family and people you think that this is important to. You need to make sure to spread this to your friends, and we will get the message out. They're not going to silence us.
And you should know that the image behind Josh, it is his green screen. However, that's actually taken.
How would you know?
Well, it is, because right now it's nighttime by you. Okay.
He's a smart one.
Yeah, but that's actually the view from his balcony. When we say the teachings go out from Zion, this is what we're talking about, that we're seeing something absolutely miraculous, where that prophecy by Micah is happening right now. So you can either open your eyes and get beamed in whatever CNN is trying to put in your mind, or you can join in with
or
us.
You can go and you can order your Israel Bible. Stay tuned.
Shalom, I'm Rabbi Tuli Weiss, editor of the Israel Bible, the world's only Bible that features the original Hebrew language with side-by-side English translation, hundreds of fascinating study notes, historical maps, and so much more. Get your copy of the Israel Bible by clicking on the link below.
Yes,
great.
That was our plug for the Israel Bible. You can order it here, and thank you so much for joining us. Elio, anything planned for the future?
We don't have any plans yet, but there's a lot of, basically these broadcasts are me talking to people I really like and people I get inspiration from. So hopefully you'll like them too.
Tomorrow is a big
Josh,
day.
you're included, by the way. Tomorrow
is a big day, and I want to tell you, I don't know if you know this, Elio.
What's tomorrow?
Oh boy. Okay. See, this is the difference between Elio and other news sources. All other news sources know that tomorrow is supposed to be the swearing in ceremony of the Biden administration. In Washington, D.C., there's 65,000 troops in Washington that are gathered together. The joke is that they're telling now is they couldn't find 1,000 people to come to the inauguration, so they had 65,000 troops deployed over there, so there would be some people to watch it. Any way you want to look at it, there's going to be a big day, a big transition. It's going to make a big difference for the future of Israel, for the future of America, for the future of the world. I have planned on going tomorrow night in my time, is standard time, 7:00 tomorrow night. I plan on being at the Western Wall. That's at 12:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the inauguration will be happening. And I want to make sure that we are praying to God during that time that everything that happens will be for the good. And we should see soon in our days the redemption unfolds before us.
Amen. And like the verse says, if you bless me, I got no choice but to bless you back. So if you send me blessings, they're coming right back at you. Thank you so much, Josh. And we'll be posting in the newsletter and on the Israel 365 News Facebook page about what we're going to be talking to you about tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining us.
Be blessed.